Terraria has an incredible progression system and hard mode is where it shines the most. It gives a lot of new toys for the player to have fun with. Magic goes explosive, range finally starts getting fun, and melee becomes range. But among all those options there is still one thing that I can't help but ask, why? KO Cannon is a hard mode melee weapon with a few gimmicks, but the biggest one is being used even less than the Pearlwood Sword. In fact, it is so unpopular that people don't even use it as a challenge weapon. A quick search on YouTube gets you videos like, I beat Terraria with a copper short sword, or can you kill the destroyer in master mode with a Pearlwood Sword? But if you search KO Cannon, the only thing you will find is a Socrates review video with a huge F tier slapped on it. But in any case, KO Cannon is still a hard mode weapon, and even if it's not the strongest option out there, it might have some uses. In the end, we need to test it out and see if KO Cannon is a useless item, or is it a hidden gem. Hello to everyone watching this, I am... You know what? Forget about the intro. I know it sucks, you know it sucks, everybody knows it sucks. If devs showed some love to it, KO Cannon could be an okay cannon, but right now it is at best a meh cannon and at worst a bad cannon. In fact, not even the developers seem to love it, as after its introduction in 1.2, all it received was a damage buff of 5. Those were the times when this item was a rare drop in Blood Moon, but right now it is not even that. KO Cannon at least had that going for it, but now it is not even a rare drop that you can brag about on Reddit after being the 1 millionth player to get a rare drop. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Even if a weapon is weak, it is only fair to cover it unbiased. So let's see what this trash puncher can do. KO Cannon is a hard mode Blood Moon item. If you want to get it, you need to either wait until a Blood Moon happens, or use a Bloody Tear to start it. After the event starts, there is a chance for an uncommon enemy to spawn, which is the Clown. Clown can deal a ton of damage with its explosives and has quite a high HP, so be careful if you are dealing with it. And once you defeat the enemy, if you are lucky you will get Banana Ring, which is much better than KO Cannon in all points. And if you are unlucky you will get the weapon this video is about with 20% chance. Since you can obtain it right after killing Wall of Flesh, it goes into the early hard mode in the progression line right around here. KO Cannon is a flail and acts like how Chain Knife or Harpoon does. It sends out a projectile with a maximum range of 15 tiles and immediately returns back whenever it hits something. Which means you get minimum attack speed at max range and maximum attack speed when you are point blank to the enemy. This of course greatly affects the DPS. With no accessories and armors equipped, I barely could reach 100 DPS at max range, and the attack speed is so slow it feels like trying to run in a dream, but you just can't move an inch from where you are. But when you move into the melee range, the DPS rises up to 2.5 times, and that is actually not bad at all, if you are okay with getting in the kissing range to the enemy, that is. So if you are trying to use it, it is a no-brainer that you should get as close to the enemy as possible. I have also tested the weapon in actual scenarios and delved into the caves. In any point where there are only a few enemies, KO Cannon does more than enough to clean the place. But like most weapons where you need to be up close while using them, any ranged enemy creates a huge issue. Unfortunately for KO Cannon, it also sucks for group fights since it is a single target weapon. So if you are attacked by a group, you simply just perish. This is also true for many ranged weapons, but at least they are ranged. KO Cannon on the other hand is just sad. Now then, normally this would be the part where I test the weapon on a few bosses and then compare it to the others. But I believe we all can agree here that bosses are not included in the list of KO Cannon use cases. That's why we will be taking the classic approach with dummy targets and compare it to some other weapons in the same progression point and damage type, which are Flaying Knife, Shadow Flame Knife, Chick, and Chain Guillotines. Since KO Cannon is such a special weapon, it also gets a very special treatment from me, where I include two weapons from pre-hard mode to this comparison, Knight's Edge and Sun Fury. You can see the results for the single dummy test on screen. I have used KO Cannon on both max and min range and just took an average. To be honest, I am glad it at least beats Sun Fury and Knight's Edge in this test, though you will still need to be pretty close to the enemy to get this number. But of course these are all just dummy target results. In a real scenario the enemy won't stay there and keep taking a beating. But since we are doing this comparison for non-boss scenarios, let's also check multi-dummy test results. Well, I believe the list speaks for itself. Of course, in a real fight you won't be hitting all 8 targets with each of your flaying knife swings or throws of Sun Fury, but this shows the potential of damage for these weapons, while the said cannon doesn't see much increase in a multi-target test. Attentive people may have noticed Chain Guillotines have the same damage as the previous test, which is to be expected given its single target nature. But unlike KO Cannon, you can throw Chain Guillotines much further and damage everything on the return trip, which gives it a huge damage boost against groups of enemies. Once again, KO Cannon isn't for bosses, but what if you tried to? Well, obvious results really. I can't imagine any sane person trying to use this against Destroyer or Twins. It doesn't even reach the damned eyeball. But Skeleton Prime actually looks doable. In fact, without any modifiers on the weapon and accessories, I was able to get the boss to a low HP, but time was the main problem. I was actually going to stop trying further here, as I am not planning to use modifiers in any of the tests I do, but just out of curiosity. Can you defeat Skeletron Prime on Expert mode with a KO cannon? Apparently yes, you can. With all warding accessories and the demonic modifier, I was able to kill the boss in 5 minutes and 43 seconds. I have also changed the flask to Cursed Flames, which may have helped on the win. But just because you can doesn't mean you should, really. Getting a chick or chain guillotines in early hard mode is simply much easier, and the clear times for the boss with the same conditions were much faster, and the fight was much less stressful. I am not entirely sure if KO Cannon is a joke weapon, or if it was made to be a slight boost for hard mode if you somehow randomly drop it before getting anything else. The super low drop rate from years ago suggests that it wasn't made to be a serious weapon back then, but now that it is much more obtainable, maybe all it needs is a buff to be more viable. To be perfectly honest, I don't actually dislike KO Cannon. As a concept, I find quick return flails really fun, and this weapon is in a perfect place in progression for such a weapon. Maybe in 1.4.5 it will get some love from Relogic, and hopefully it will stop being an F tier trash puncher. But what do you think? Have you used KO Cannon or even fought any bosses with it? Or you will never get as close to it as its short range reach? Let me know in the comments, and thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe for more Terraria content. See you in the next video, and as always, have a great day.